This is Gus Summers, and you're watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. This week, we have one of Hollywood's greatest superstars. At the height of his career, there was no one who didn't know his name. There was not a single lady who did not want to know him, a single boy did not want to grow up to be him, and every man wanted to have a beer with this grand superstar. His name, Mr. Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds was a Hollywood icon that was recognizable throughout the world. He started off his career, like many actors, doing bit parts, and then gradually worked his way up through television, and then, of course, to movies. And he did so many great movies that each one was such a major hit. He was the go-to actor. There was nothing that he couldn't do wrong. Well, first up is one of those great films that still lasts today. It's just a unique look at football, at the penal system, and a great character insight into how people handle situations. Of course, I'm talking about The Longest Yard. He plays Paul Crewe. He's a former football quarterback who, because of some gambling issues, point shaving specifically, he is a disgraced quarterback. In the beginning, you see him get in a fight with his rich girlfriend, takes her Maserati, and leads and drives through the city, leading a high-speed police chase, and ends up dumping her Maserati into the river. Well, the police finally catch him. The court sentence him to like a year and a half, 2 years in a Florida state prison, and that's when it all really falls apart for him. He meets a sadistic warden, played great by another Hollywood icon, Eddie Albert. He plays Warden Hazen, who wants Paul to train his semi-pro football team made up of his guards. And he really wants him to train because he has an opportunity to even take him further, even professional. But he knows Paul is the guy, because he was a professional football player, to train them and help them out. Well, Paul just wants to do his time, get out of there and, get all this behind him. Well, that doesn't sit well with Eddie Albert. So he really puts the screws to him. He tells his his guards to really give it to him. Well, the main guard, played by Ed Lauter, great actor. I mean, they had such a long, luxurious career as well. He's the captain of all the guards, and he's the one telling them, really put the screws to them. So they really, give him the worst jobs, the worst treatment for him to break. Well, he befriends a lot of people when he finally decides, to help Eddie Albert. So what he said is, what I'm going to do is make another team made up of prisoners, and we'll have this exhibition game, blah, blah, blah. So he ends up getting help from some of the other prisoners. You have James Hampton. He plays Caretaker, another grand actor. He always plays these nice guys, always the helping guy. So he plays Caretaker. And then you have Michael Conrad. He plays Nate Scarborough, a former athlete that helps train the football team. You have John Stedman. He played Pop. He plays the old wise prisoner who's been there for he's been there like 40 years, 50 years. He's like 70, 80. He helps Burt Reynolds and everything get the group together. So he makes up the crew, the football team of all the prisoners. He has a convicted murderer who's in there. He has a huge giant that plays football. He has to be the intermediary between your race relations of the black players and the white players, and he finally gets the team, to come together and care for each other. And he goes, it's not about us, it's about the guards. Don't you want to give the guards a good lashing? Yeah, let's do that. So again, he's there, and the team is really good. And at one point, Eddie Albert basically tells him, you guys are too good. You're gonna have to do what you do. You shave points anyways, blow the game, because I'm not going to blow this opportunity of having my semi-pro team lose to a bunch of convicts. So, but you have a lot of great acting, a lot of great drama, because it's not a typical prison movie, and it's not a parody. It's a great, like I said, a great film of characters. You see what people are like, and what they do when situations arise. It's like, without giving anything away, Ed Lauter as the captain. There's one point where they think Burt Reynolds is escaping, and Eddie Albert's telling him, he again hands him a gun. He goes, shoot him! Look, he's trying to escape. And Ed Lauter is yelling, crew, crew. And Burt Reynolds is just walking. He's yelling him, crew, crew. And, for those who've seen it, the scene. And, Ed Lauter's like, crew, yelling at him. And Burt Reynolds is, just still walking. And he ends up realizing that he wasn't trying to escape. He was just trying to do something else. So I don't want to give it away for those who haven't seen it. But, great film. Great film. Bring you forward, probably to one of his most iconic films. I think everyone wanted the car in this film, or wanted the hat in this film. Of course, I'm talking about Smokey and the Bandit. He plays a Bo Bandit Darville. Bandit. He's like a legendary truck driver, and he gets hired by two Texans who are in Georgia, Big Enos and Little Enos. Big Enos is played by Pat McCormick, and Little Enos is played by Paul Williams. They bet Burt Reynolds that he can't go to Texas and drive all the way back to Georgia with a truck full of Coors beer in so many hours. And Burt Reynolds accepts the challenge, and he takes off. And you may wonder, why Coors beer? Well, there was a time that Coors was only sold in certain states. So, if you were caught with it in a particular state, it's bootleg. And so, they would confiscate the beer. So they said, get it to Texas, to here where it's illegal, and we'll pay you, so many thousands of dollars. So Burt Reynolds convinces them to buy them a brand new black Trans Am, supercharge everything, and he's going to be the decoy as the truck driver, drives through the highways, getting the beer there. So the truck driver, his good friend, the Snowman, played by Jerry Reed, big time country singer, and he plays, always played these roles well. He was also a fine actor. He had just a natural ability to him. So the story is that they leave Georgia, go to Texas without any incident, get there, load up, and head back. I was like, wow, this is great. We got here quick. Well, that's when all the trouble begins. And it really begins when he picks up a hitchhiker. It's a runaway bride, played by Miss Sally Fields. Her name is Carrie, and he calls her Frog. She's always kind of jumpy, nervous in the car, so he calls her Frog. And he finds out that she ran away at her wedding day, runaway bride. And she said, she was making a mistake. She wanted to get away, so she hitchhiked, and he happened to be driving by. And so now he has this hitchhiker who's being pursued by her former fiance and his father. The father is a sheriff of the town, so now he wants to know what's going on, why she take off, and his son's hurt, so he wants to get to the bottom of this. The sheriff, of course, we know, is Sheriff Buford T. Justice, played by the great Jackie Gleason. Jackie Gleason, he does great in this film. I love how there are these actors that are so big, and their performances can be even over the top, but fit. And they just have an ability to make these performances fit into this film, and it doesn't seem to be so over the top. But he's Buford T. Justice. My Junior, I just can't stand this thing. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. It's just the way he talks. He's got this thing to him. It's great. So now Burt Reynolds has Sally Field in the car, and she's just telling him, talking about her life, and he's just like, wow, you have problems. And he's being chased by Jackie Gleason and his son. He's being, of course, pursued by, state police and local law enforcement. All the truck drivers are helping him, get through, roadblocks and evade police. It was the height of, really when, CBs and truckers were, really in the mood, really in everyone's mind and part of the fabric of society. So breaker 10-4, blah blah blah, and and so would call ahead, and they would say, hey, Smokey's up here, be careful, you might want to take a different route, or hey, we need a little help, and there would be a convoy of truckers, and they would hide behind the trucks as the cops go by. Great, great film. It's one of those films that it is light and friendly. Burt Reynolds has this ability of playing the mean tough guy, or the friendly, jovial jokester. A great film, and it was huge. I mean, Smoking the Bandit is huge. To have gone through, this era, and to have known Burt Reynolds, and seeing what iconic star he was. I mean, he wasn't just like a movie star, a big star. He was a icon, a superstar. It was amazing. He was everywhere. His name was everywhere. There was not a person who didn't know his name. Amazing. But great fun movie, even fun today. So one of the last movies, my last movie. Again, here is where he's a little more dark. It's a police drama. I think it probably ranks up as one of the best police dramas. Of course, I'm talking about Sharky's Machine. He plays Tom Sharkey. He was a detective who was, after a bad bust, he was demoted to Vice. So he has to go and be part of the Vice department now, and just deal with hookers and drug dealers, everything he worked his way out of. Just basic at the street level versus doing high crimes like he was doing. So one day, they bust a gal who they think is just a normal vice bust, but she turns out to be part of a larger prostitution ring, and so they pursue the case, find out it's not just street pimps and hookers. It is a really huge organization. So as they're pursuing it, they come across a gal that they follow. She was part of the whole ring. Her name was Domino, played by the beautiful Rachel Ward, and she, Tom Sharkey is following her, surveilling her, and he begins to kind of gets to know her through her life, and kind of builds some emotion for her. I can't give too much away, because if you give stuff away in the beginning, you lose at the end, and it's a great film in that regard. But what ends up happening is there's a murder, and so Tom Sharkey is investigating now the murder, and we have to know some of the characters in the Vice group. It's led the captain is Frisco, played by Charles Durning. Yeah. Great actor. Again, he's one of those actors that can play funny and play mean. And this one, he's like in the middle. He's always, Sharky, what are you doing? This isn't our our cases, it should be homicide. Well, we want to do. What do you mean you want to do it? He's just great. He's the same one that's in another a funny movie, but. Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. He plays the governor, and he has his little song bit. You know, he goes, "Ooh, I want to dance a little sidestep. Now they see me, now they don't, and now I'm gone." And great. I mean, he's just the funniest actor. So he plays the captain. But you also have another great actor in there, Mr. Brian Keith. He plays Papa. You know, the older cop that's been around. He's just there, but you recognize him from like TV show Family Fare, movies like the Parent Trap, another '80s show Hardcastle McCormick. I mean, he was an actor that was just fine actor that was just around for such a long time. Great, great addition to the film. So as Ray Sharkey is investigating the prostitution ring, a murder. He comes across the leader of the whole crime syndicate, which is his name is Victor, portrayed by Vittorio Gassman. He's the ringleader. Now they're surveying him, and now they know there's a connection between all this. And then now he has a brother who's basically a psychopath, who's also a hired assassin who does all the dirty work. Again, another legendary actor. Mr. Henry Silva. He has a knack for playing these roles that are real quiet. That he's thinking something, contemplating, something that he did. What sinister agenda does he have? He had that great ability. So, I said I can't give anything away because there are different turning points in the film that if you give it away in the beginning, it will ultimately affect the end. So you have to watch a great film. Fantastic. Just do want to talk about one scene. There's a scene where they get Burt Reynolds off guard, and they beat him up and they knock him out, and they have him on his boat way out in the ocean, and they're wanting to find out what he knows. Come on, Sharky, we know you know something. He's not saying anything, and they have his hand out. Puts his hand out on the table. Come on, Sharky. And you got to tell us, because you know how this is going to go. He's not saying anything, and the guy gets a knife and puts it right in between his fingers. And he's just looking. He goes, "Come on, Sharky, you got to tell me." He doesn't say anything, and the guy goes, and he cuts his finger off. It's Reynolds just goes, "Come on, Sharky, talk. And he's not saying anything. He cuts his other finger off. And he's like, he goes, "Come on, Sharky, don't be such a tough guy. You scream, no one's going to hear you out here." And great scene because you see Burt Reynolds, he's crying. He's not yelling. He's basically the guy wants him to yell. "Come on, Sharky." The guy's being such a jerk. He's one of these smiley guys, like I'm telling you. Oh, matter of fact, his name's Smiley, and he's acting like, "Come on, Sharky, I know it hurts." He's just crying. But the scene then pans to the side, and you see Burt Reynolds move his hand, and you see his fingers there, and it doesn't have any fingers on his hand. It's like, wow, great scene. Wow. But great movie. I mean, again, it'll still hold up today. That's how good it was. He actually, matter of fact, directed it himself. Great film. But, there were so many films that, he had done that deserve mentioning. I can go on and on, of course, about Cannonball Run, a huge ensemble movie with so many fine actors. What else? And as I mentioned, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, another great movie. We're also talking about, Deliverance, early on that pushed him up into, movie star status. These were just, a couple of the films. And of course, he was considered for other iconic roles. That's how great this actor was. He was considered, ready for this? To replace Sean Connery as James Bond. When Sean Connery said, "That's it, I'm done," they actually approached Burt Reynolds, and he said, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it." He turned it down. So it would have been Sean Connery and Burt Reynolds as James Bond. It's like, that's great. They wanted him for the Usually Love movie. James Coburn played the lead title of Our Man Flint. He did a series, kind of it was James Bond-esque, kind of more of a comedy tint to it. But they wanted him from Our Man Flint. And one other role they wanted him, but he turned him down. Ready for this? Han Solo in Star Wars. Yeah, say he would have been Han Solo. I thought, what a great, yeah, he would have done great as James Bond or our man Flint or Han Solo. But he's one of those great actors that had such ability. And what a fantastic legacy he's left in Hollywood and films. And he has such a wide array of films that we can still enjoy today. Well, that's what I got for you today. And this is Gus Summers, and you've been watching In-Show Celebrities. And this is the time I take every Monday to talk about my favorite films and actors. And of course, remember, don't forget, every Thursday, visit us at theinshow.com, where I host The In-Show. And that's where I bring in celebrities and guests, all sorts of people to talk about, all their projects and whatever it is that they're doing. Of course, be sure to look for us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, Instagram, all those great social media sites. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.